Worksheet B, sorry, number 13. So the topic is DSC Math 121B, students. And the research question is, what is the correlation between time spent practicing and score? Is there a correlation between those two variables? And the hypothesis now says that the correlation between time spent practicing and score is strongly positive. So that was the response. So that is what was claimed. So now the objective now is to determine now the correlation, not the average, the correlation between time spent practicing and score. And to do that now, also to test the claim, also to answer the research question about that topic, data was collected and it was presented in the form of a table where you have time in the first row and score in the second row, as you can see. So as you can see in part A, it says use the information to measure the product moment coefficient correlation. There are two approaches to measure correlation in this course. You have Spearman's and product moment. This question is concerned about product moment. And to do that now, let's take a look at number 12. Number 12 says you can go to week 7, page 3 and 4. So here is the formula to measure correlation using product moment. You've got to calculate 6 numbers. The first number, it says multiply each x value by its corresponding y value, then add up these values, then multiply by n. So let's do that. So as you can see, the first xy, that means x times y, has been done. That is 10 times 40, 10 times 40, which is 400. Now we've got to do the second xy. The x's are 10, 15, and 20. The y's are 40, 60, 50. So now the second xy is 15 times 60. That is what was said, which is 900. The third one is 20 times 50, which is 1,000. So now we've got to find the total and then multiply by n. N will be 3 in that case. So the total is 1,000 plus 900 plus 400. That is 2,300. And we've got to multiply this number now by n. N is the number of pairs. N is 3. So it's 3 times 2,300. Let me just put this in the equation format. So that's 3 times 2,300. And this will give us how much? How much? 6,900. So that is the first number. So now we are going to calculate the second number. And to do that, we are going to carefully read what the instructions say, what the steps say. It says to add up the values of x to get a total of x. Add up the values of y to get the total of y. Then multiply these two totals. So therefore now we have added the x values 10, 15, 20, we get 45. We added the y values 40, 60, and 50. We get 150. Now we multiply 45 by 150. We get 6,750. So let us go to see how to get the third number now. Bear in mind, we've got 6 numbers to get. So now we're on the third number. It says that you've got to find the square of each value of x, then add up these values to get a total, then multiply this total by the number of pairs. I repeat, first you square the x values. Okay, because whenever you see sigma, you have to start on the right of sigma first, and then you move towards the left. So you have to square first. Don't go and add. Always reserve add for last. So you square x, then you add, and then you multiply by n. Someone said BEDMAS, addition and subtraction normally comes last. Okay, so the squaring normally comes exponent, the E for exponent, brackets, and then exponents. So that's why they call it BEDMAS. E for exponent, exponents come before multiplication and addition. So you exponentiate first, that means you square x, and then you add, and after you multiply by n. BEDMAS. So let's apply this there. As you can see, one was done already, 10 squared. So now we move on to 15 squared, which is 225, 20 squared, which is 400, and then we add up these 3 squared values, get 725, and then multiply by 3, because n is 3, to get 2,175. So let's move on to the fourth number. It says you have already obtained the total of x, because the fourth number is the sum of x all squared. The sum of x is in a bracket. You've got to do what's in the bracket first. In the bracket, you have to find the sum of x. But it says we have already done that in step 2. All right? So now all we need to do is to square this value. So let's go and find the sum of x. Our sum of x is 45. So all we do is square 45. And 45 squared is 225. So that will give us our fourth number. So let me just copy down these numbers and put it in the last row. So let's go to the fifth number now. It says n times the sum of y squared. There is no bracket, but then we see in y squared, so we have to do y squared first. So that's why it says find the square of each value of y, then add up these values to get a total, and then multiply by the number of pairs. As we can see, the first one has been done for us already, 40 squared, 1,600. We've got to move on to the next one, which is 60 squared. That's 3,600. And what's the next one? 50 squared, which is 2,500. And then we've got to find the total of these 3 squared values and then multiply by 3. So the total of these 3 squared values is 23,100. It's 7,700, sorry, which was multiplied by 3 to give us 23,100. So now we are going to find the last number, the 6th number. So let's go to the instruction to see how this can be done. Is the sum of y in a bracket all squared? You must do what's in the bracket first, which is the sum of y. So that's why it says you have already obtained the total of y in step 2. So all we need to do is to square this value. Our sum of y is 150. So all we need to do is to square 150. So the square 150 is 22,500. So now we've got the 6 numbers. Let's see what is the next move now. It said now a second look at the formula will reveal that you can calculate a number called A. 1 minus 2, if you look at the numerator of the formula, 1 minus 2 can give you a number. 3 minus 4 can give you another number. 5 minus 6 can give you a third number. So you can cut 6 numbers into half to give you 3 numbers, and then we can substitute. We can call these numbers A, B, and C. So therefore, A now is 6,900 minus 6,750. That's 150. First minus the second. B is third minus fourth. That's 2,175 minus 2025. That's 150 again, coincidentally. And C now is 23,100 minus 22,500, which is 600. So now, as the instructions say, we can substitute into the formula to find R. R is A over the square root of BC. So therefore now, the formula has been simplified to R is equal to A over the square root of BC. A is 150, so we substitute 150 in the place of A. Square root of BC, B is 150 also, times 600, which is C. And that will be equal to 150 divided by the square root of 90,000, because 150 times 600 is 90,000, equal the square root of 90,000 seems to be 300. And then we have 150 divided by 300 to give us a product moment coefficient of 0.5 exactly.